Okay, so I'll give you sort of a rough idea about what goes on the show. It's about 60 minutes. That's why it's called Happy Hour. And the basic format is there's not one. We just turn on the mics, and then about 60 minutes later we turn them off.
What do you mean about 60 minutes?
Well, it could be a little shorter if we're in a hurry. Do you have an appointment?
No, I just, I want to make sure you're not hustling me.
Okay. No, I'll try and get you your money's worth. We have got a couple of things to do first. Somebody has to do this Hangover Destroyer ad for me so we can put it in at the beginning of the show. Damien, are you got the best voiceover here?
Perhaps.
Really?
Ooh.
Ah, okay. Well, so scoot in.
I guarantee you.
So does everyone know each other? This is Frank Scurlock,
Hey, nice to meet you.
Katrina Cerny,
Yeah, we didn't actually meet.
Michael Cain, Damien Williams,
Yes.
and this is Andrew Duhon, of course.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know you did this. Okay.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
you as a musician. Not
Co-host. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Michael, what are you saying that you never listened to the show ever?
Pardon me?
You saying you've never listened to the show?
I do. I just know him as a musician.
You've been on the show.
I know.
Twice, I think.
I know. Yeah.
And once I
twice.
saw you also.
On
Once
the
I saw you
donuts,
on
yeah.
the donut show.
Yep.
Because
the food show.
the food show, Ray and
yeah.
Margot's food show.
Yeah.
What's it called? Midnight Menu Plus One.
Yep.
Because you opened a donut shop.
We did. Yep.
Nice.
Do you still have it?
We're still doing pop-up right now, but we're hopefully closing finally on a solid location.
What was it called again?
Upper Nine Donut Company.
Upper Nine Donut.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. So, but we're still at Tracy's.
I thought you were going to open a place downtown or something.
We did for 3 months at Sound Cafe, but
What
just,
happened?
A combination of factors that just didn't work out with the lease in the long term.
What?
so.
Not enough people buying donuts, or price point too low?
No.
Frank will help you out.
No, it was more traffic.
It's a tough location.
It was the ratio, I should say. We had plenty of donuts being sold, but the ratio of the donuts per rent was not feasible for us. So,
That's a nice way of saying you're selling enough donuts.
in a way,
That's
I
what
guess.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Where was the location?
But right now, we're just doing Saturdays.
But where was that? You were?
It was at Sound Cafe at I want to say 20-some-hundred Charter Street.
Right.
It's on a tough block of Charters.
Yeah,
it's
it's a
kind of
tough-
nobody stops there.
All right.
I love the little coffee shop.
Yeah.
What about much like an ice cream van? You get like an ice cream man, but you're like the donut man van, and you kind of pull through the street, but instead of playing like a kitschy, stupid little jingly song, you play like some Isaac Hayes slow jam in the morning, like 9 a.m. And you're just cruising through with some warm donuts, man. I would wake up and like,
Did you make a lavender cream donut? Or there was some kind of lavender...
We haven't had lavender. We did a
was it?
candied thyme with a lemon cream.
I think that was it.
that's nice.
It's been a while, but
Wow.
I just realized I had one of your donuts. It was heavenly. Yeah.
What was it called? Candied Thyme.
Candied thyme topping with a lemon cream mousse inside.
Inside, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Powdered sugar.
People used to get really weird on that donut.
It is freaky.
That's a good slogan. People get weird on our donuts.
Katrina, you've got a pretty sexy sounding voice as well. You could do our Hangover Destroyer ad if you want as well.
I think Damien's a little more practiced with
Really?
the microphone. Yeah.
You've got a nice voice. What sort of accent is that?
Chicago.
Aha. Would you have picked that?
No, but you could use like more than one as,
We could
keep
do
in
two.
stock.
We could do two and keep the one that, or use them in different weeks.
For next week when,
Yeah, all
when
right.
nobody sounds good.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, let's do it. You want to do both each? You can have to read this here, this copy for Hangover Destroyer. You can have a read through it before we do it if you like. Frank, do you feel left out? You want to do one as well?
I'm good.
You sure?
I'm along for the ride. I'm good. There we go.
Okay, that sounds good.
But yeah, whatever is needed, we can do it.
Okay. Well, everybody can do like a line.
True.
Okay, Katrina, give it a shot.
And then just edit it together.
Yeah, we can put it there. Chris can fix it up in post. Let's see how it sounds.
Okay. Hangover Destroyer, the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. Go to Hangover Destroyer website, hdestroyer.com. Write Happy Hour in the coupon code and get 30% off of Hangover Destroyer and seize the dawn.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a keeper. Thank you very
I
much.
love those products, too.
Katrina Cerny.
They can
The
work.
very first voiceover. Okay, Damien, you want to try it?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Give it a shot. Okay. Damien, have you ever done any voiceover work before first? Because we're not paying you realize that.
Yeah.
You look like sort of a professional.
It's kind of funny. I actually have.
That's what worries me. Who did you do stuff for?
Cox's in-house advertising agency, cable rep.
Really?
Mhm.
Hey, you have to get in on the mic a wee bit, I think.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, I do too.
What do you do for them?
Customer, client relations, script writing, and voiceovers.
So those ads that you see on the what's it
In
called?
between television shows.
But on all sorts of channels on Cox, or just there?
Yeah, because they interrupt programming from other places and other programmers and insert the local commercials there.
And what were some of the ones that you did? Do you still do it?
See. No, not anymore. That was years ago. Let's see. Sun Premium Financing, City Page, a lot of places that were around before Katrina, unfortunately.
Wonder if that was a curse, if they got wiped out because they were advertising on Cox.
Because there was a lot of other business.
Curse of the voiceover.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hangover Destroyer. It's
The dreaded,
How did you get that gig? It sounds like a
the
pretty
dreaded
good.
VO. Friend of a friend. Who was actually there.
Did you go to like broadcasting school or something?
No.
Full sail?
No. At the time,
Oh,
I was
nice.
actually at UNO. Communications and business management, and then that switched to sociology and a couple of other things.
Jesus, that's even. I mean, communications. You got a shot at getting a job. Sociology. What the hell was that?
But it's interesting to study people.
Is that sociology? I thought that was psychology.
Well,
Sociology, the kids, they play video games with the philosophy kids until it's time for them to go to their pizza job, which the philosophy kids don't even have.
this is true. There were a lot of hours spent at the Cove.
And now UNO's like shutting down, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard. It's actually quite sad because that's going to cause a huge void. There's no, middle ground university in New Orleans at this point. Delgado, I hate to say it that way, but being, on one end of it and Tulane and Loyola being on another end, it's going to...
Are you saying it's the financial end or the academic end?
Financially and academically in some ways, although there was a point when UNO was actually one of the better colleges in the city, without, of course, paying $500,000 at the end of your 5 or 6 years or however long it took you to actually go.
Did any of you guys go to school here? Frank, did you?
I did. I went to Loyola for a year in communication.
Awesome.
And then also
Awesome.
jumped up to Baton Rouge for a little bit.
Gotcha.
And after 3 round trips and 1 day to Baton Rouge, I decided to start work.
That was it. It was like 3 days.
3 round trips
3
in 1
rounds
day.
and one day.
In
In
one
one
day.
day.
In 1 day.
Why would you have done 3 round trips in a day?
I was shooting a commercial. I was going to a board meeting. I think I had exams, and then I was actually a disc jockey at some bars up in Baton Rouge where I finished it off. And I woke up the next morning and said never again.
Yeah.
I said never again to a lot of things actually.
Yeah. Well, that's a good. So you were a disc jockey. So you should do the Hangover Destroyer ad as well. Then.
I could. Give it
Okay.
a shot.
Oh, so you kept that was a quiet, dark horse.
Yeah, actually, it was more on the music side back in the 80s. There's a really hot college bar here called Shanahan's. There was one, and I used to do that. Yeah.
What's so funny about it?
Awesome. I remember the place.
That was in.
They had one here and one up in Baton Rouge. I was one of the lead disc jockeys in Baton Rouge, and on the holiday season, I'd come down to New Orleans, and it was kind of an underage drinking place in New Orleans when the legal drinking age was 18. So you started at 15, and it wasn't fun anymore at 18.
Yeah.
Michael, did you grow up here, Michael, as well?
I did not.
Because you're a big drinker, right?
I am a big drinker. But actually, one of my donut partners has a similar story of hanging out at Bud Ribs. He was an Araby boy, and plenty of years, 14 on, spent at Bud Ribs.
Well,
And talking of booze, Katrina, you've got you brought a bunch of booze with you. You said.
I did, but more along the vein of conversation, I went to Carbondale in Southern Illinois, SIU, which is a notorious party school. And when I got there, I was 18, of course. Drinking age was 21, but bar age was 18. So
How do you figure that?
I know. It was a
bit
bit
of
of a
gray
trap.
area.
Yeah.
You could go into a bar at 18, but you couldn't drink for 3 more years?
Yep.
You weren't supposed to drink, so you would get tapped on the shoulder. Did you go there?
no, I just this is the story of every college. Every college is a notorious party college, right?
Okay. Well, I guess, yeah, maybe it's a little bit in the shadows of these colleges, but especially back in that day, it was just kind of known. But I guess it was because of that reason, because they let the kids in the bars. So, I mean, you'd get served, and then you would get a ticket. you'd get an underage drinking ticket.
What a bizarre system.
Yeah,
Was it like a money-making racket? I could imagine
Yeah.
they had doing that here in New Orleans, but
Minor in possession is what they called it.
really? Minor
When I was
in possession.
school, yeah.
Well, you see, there are universities that are like that, but when the entire city is like that, and every bar at that point, I forget how many years ago it was, 18 to get in, 21 to drink. And there was that ambiguous, why are you here? Well, I don't know. Just hanging out.
Right.
My friends are here.
Right. That was always a good one.
Hanging out with older people. Okay, Damien, give that a shot, that Hangover Destroyer. Let's hear a
Okay.
professional take.
Let's see. I don't know if I can still do this. Put on my Gary Owens voice. Hangover Destroyer, the only natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. Go to Hangover Destroyer website, Destroyer. Shoot.
That was so nice, too.
I screwed it up. What is that? HDestroyer.com, or how would that be?
Yeah, H-Destroyer.
Okay.
You
cool.
could say Destroyer, I guess. They'd probably make us do it again at Hangover Destroyer.
These people need Hangover Destroyer. We can't leave them hanging.
You
like
should
that.
try it, actually. You should try this Hangover Destroyer, you guys.
Well, I'm thinking about it. I had no idea of this. Hangover Destroyer, the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. Go to Hangover Destroyer website, hdestroyer.com, write happy hour in the coupon code, and get 30% off Hangover Destroyer. Seize the dawn.
Okay, what do you think?
Yep.
Guys?
Great.
Okay, to keep it? Okay, Frank, we have to do it right. You don't, yeah, you have to do it now. Now the challenge is on.
Oh boy.
You need to sound like... you need glasses?
I do.
You want to borrow mine? Oh, shit, you just dropped them.
It's okay. They're available.
So look at your color coding. Look, you're on purple today. Is it from Mardi Gras?
It's continuation of 12th Night. I'm gonna be.
How long is
I have
12th?
to have. I want to have some type of purple on every day between now and Mardi Gras Day.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Well, now you got a purple T-shirt, a purple shirt, and purple shoes,
Purple iPhone
That's
case.
all that's visible.
and an iPhone case.
Yes.
And you have purple underwear.
Is
that what you're suggesting?
Yes. You ought to see the pants I had on and the jacket I had on the other night. Yes.
Okay.
It's very festive.
Well, this is pretty festive for a given,
That's
drab.
That's how it works.
It's nice. It's Mardi Gras.
Got to live life today.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And you got a purple hat that the Hangover Destroyer copy is sitting in. That's
It's a good holder.
artsy. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Okay, here we go, folks. Hangover Destroyer, the only natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. Go to Hangover Destroyer website, hdestroyer.com. Write happy hour in the coupon code and get 30% off of Hangover Destroyer. Seize the day.
No, it sees the dawn. Say
failed.
seize the dawn again.
Seize the dawn.
We can cut that in.
Seize the dawn.
Michael, you don't want to do one, do you, as well?
I'm an
You
artist.
can if you want to. Yeah. You are a visual artist.
I barely know my own words to my songs.
Okay. You take songwriting pretty seriously, though, I thought.
Songwriting.
Yeah.
Singing is another thing.
Is it really? What's the
I'm just
connection?
kidding. I'm just kidding. I do my best. So.
Okay. Hey, listen, are you ready to kick off here?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, here we go.
Let's try.
Yeah, look at this beautiful looking guitar. What is this?
Thank you. Jazz Master.
Jazz Master. Okay. So I need something sort of jazz mastery to talk over.
If I can find the chord.
Oh, dear. There's a chord sticking out of the amp.
Yeah, and there's another one that's.
Oh,
that's
I see.
why it's. Got it? Got it now. I think. Let's hope. Not very professional.
No, it's all right. Well, we haven't actually started officially, so.
Let's see.
Okay. So, yeah, something like, I don't know what. Jazzy, you think?
I would say bouncy jazzy.
Bouncy jazzy, okay.
I like the word bouncy.
You do?
I do. It runs in the family.
Wait till they hear why. Okay.
That's our mascot, actually, is bouncy.
I hear a buzzing sound. Does anybody hear that?
Yeah, sure do I. Lovely. All right. Let's see what we can do with that.
It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limo or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans. And this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common, other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar. Today we're at Wayfair on Ferret Street. Wayfair is a restaurant and a bar serving handcrafted food and spirits where Chef Kevin White, who's a super genius, puts fine dining into a sandwich. And if you think that's just some sort of a bullshit slogan, it isn't. It's the real deal. Chef Kevin was a real fancy chef in New York City. He worked with Mario Batali before he moved to New Orleans and opened this restaurant, Wayfair, and everything in a sandwich tastes like a meal, like a real awesome meal. I know you're looking at me like saying, "Are you fucking crazy?" What can you do?
I looked at the menu.
It's awesome. Wait till you try the sandwiches here. They have an awesome happy hour as well for 3 hours every single day from 4 to 7 where drinks are cheap. And come down here and check it out. It's on Ferret Street. Our theme song today is being played by Damien Williams, who's also a member of the band The Parishioners, along with Michael Cain. Damien, thank you very much. We can probably fade that out quietly now.
Nice and easy, though. Nice and easy.
Well, nice. Thank you very much for our improvised theme song of the day, Bouncy Jazz.
Yes, indeed.
Michael Cain and Damien Williams are in a band called The Parishioners, which is a New Orleans band who play a blend of rock and Americana with an emphasis on good lyrics, it says here. Is that right?
I wouldn't say good lyrics.
Shitty lyrics. I can say that again, with an emphasis on shitty lyrics. How would you describe it?
No, I try to take my craft as seriously as I can. I try to tell a story more than trying to rhyme words or, talk about huge ass beers, things like that.
Huge ass beer.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not too.
That would be a good title for a song or an album, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It says here that the sound of your band has sometimes been described as Gothic Americana.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
To be honest with you, I coined the term just for reviewers to have something to call us.
Idiots like me who say, "What kind of music? How would you what do you call that music? What are your influences and where'd you get the name?"
Yeah, I mean, we kind of both grew up in a goth punk kind of scene, and what we're doing is completely different, but the lyrical content tends to be kind of dark, so that's why.
Should we take a listen to something that you've been?
Yeah.
Let's kick it off.
Let's see what a Gothic Americana is all about.
Okay. Oh, well, let me grab the guitar.
Okay.
And
Sure,
start off right away.
Well, no, we weren't going to, but what
set
the
up
hell?
amongst yourselves, and we can introduce.
Yeah, I can talk about the album. The album is that your debut album is called Between Piety and Desire.
It's actually not the debut album.
It's not.
You might as well call it because no one knows who we are anyway. So.
What was the name of the debut album?
Putting the Past to Rest.
Okay.
So,
well, that's strange because I got this information. Well, I didn't actually, but this information came off your website, and I didn't think it says.
That was off the review.
It doesn't say anything on the website about there being a first album, as far as I would have stolen it by now.
So, I'll double check on that.
It's one of those journalistic reviews where they don't get everything right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there were plenty of those that have happened.
But I would have definitely stolen or streamed that album by now if it was available. Is it still out? Is it out in the world still?
It's still out in the world, yeah, definitely. So,
what's it called?
Putting the Past to
Rest.
Yeah, but Piety and Desire, Between Piety and Desire was, I would say, a big leap from that first album.
Okay.
So.
Damien, you weren't in the band that time when they did that first album.
No,
I don't remember meeting you back in the day there. Yeah. Okay.
No.
Well, Michael, grab a guitar. Well, Graham, I'll hand it to you.
Sounds good.
That's our fabulous producer right behind you there, Graham DePonte. Shield. Man, every time that door opens, it's like fucking 1 degree outside.
Chilly in New Orleans for once.
It sure seems like it.
I heard it might sleet this evening.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Are you biking anywhere?
34,
Well, last night it was 20-something.
26, 25 in some
All right.
places.
Wow. Okay.
Let me 1 second.
What's happened, Michael? Oh, you've got a piece of paper.
No, that's not it.
Hold on 1 second.
Do you need a
take
lyric
your time.
sheet? This is my big idea for... Hi, Catrina. Do you want to play something?
I couldn't.
Do you want to have a shot? Come on.
couldn't.
Can you play like one chord?
I don't think so.
You never played anything ever. Frank, have you ever played the guitar?
Terrible.
I have not.
This could be our big opportunity to start a band.
That's just weird.
Try it. Katrina, give it a
It'd be
shot.
very rock.
How hard could...
right?
Oh, he's back.
I should know
Okay.
it, but I don't.
But you lost your lyrics and now you can't do a song?
I know, it's a crutch, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, if you forget the lyrics, we can make them up.
That's true. I And I might. I do that.
Okay.
It's actually really good at it.
It's always
Okay.
interesting seeing
This is like-
someone put a guitar on left-handed.
Yeah, I was just
you know?
going to say, it's like watching the Beatles.
It's cool. Yeah.
So different. Wow.
No, it's weird because sometimes we take crutches,
You
but,
like-
because it's not being
He's
filmed.
he's McCartney-esque. He actually sings in French too.
So anyway, this one's called New Orleans New Year's Eve.
This is the
I penned it last year because it was such a shitty night. I didn't even go out, and so anyway, we'll give it a shot.
Okay.
And I'll make up the words if I forget it. All right, ready?
it's going to be the very close version, which means we're going to do this the whole time.
Exactly. Woke up about 10 midnight on a rainy New Year's Eve. Nothing intended to do, just how it came to be. Watched the turning of the clock with the dog at my side. Glass of wine in hand and a dream. A better time. I know isn't what you want, but I know he'll take good care of you. He's a stronger man than I will ever be. I know he isn't what you want, but I know he'll take good care of you. This is where I forget the lines, and I'm saying it's like I really care. Shit going on. On this New Year's Eve, might as well be this Bizarre, North Dakota, or a sleepy West Texas town without a stoplight to its name. It's hard to celebrate alone in a city that never turns out the lights.
Yes.
Happy New
Okay.
Year.
Yeah, Frank, what did you think?
Oh, that was awesome. It was good stuff. Reminds me, I'm reliving New Year's Eve for the third time this week.
Katrina, what did you think? Come on in.
Sounded great. Yeah, and timely. And I remember last New Year's Eve, it was terrible.
Yes.
What happened?
It was freezing and raining and, right? It was just horrible.
It was horrible.
Bummer of a New Year's, yeah. No
You
fireworks, no
Couldn't even
riverfront.
see the fireworks up. It was so foggy, if you recall.
That's
It was
right.
crazy.
I forgot about that. What did you do this year, Frank? For the news?
Actually, I was downtown, watched the fireworks. I actually had never been to Masquerade before. at Harris. And
Oh,
went
the
there.
club in there.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah?
I had a lot of fun. I had a room downtown, and it was just fun. It was a lot of fun.
What did you do that qualified as a lot of fun?
Well, there was some drinking involved. There was some dancing involved.
Yeah, well, it's New Year's Eve. You're supposed to have fun.
That's it. It's living.
Okay.
Third time this week. I haven't been found guilty of having New Year's Eve too many times a year.
It'll be good. There's some bar. Where is that? Was that in Chicago, actually, where it's New Year's Eve every night? And every night at midnight,
I like that, but I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Actually, at
Maybe I
Walt
made
Disney
that up.
World, they do that. They used to celebrate New Year's Eve every night.
They did?
Yeah.
At Disney World?
The nighttime place, Pleasure Island.
Pleasure Island. Well, that's something you'd know something about, because it says here you're a member of one of New Orleans' first families. Like the Marsallises, the first family of music, and the Brennans, the first family of food. The Scurlocks are New Orleans' first family of fun.
Oh, that's a compliment. We try to be, but there's a lot of good folks out there. But our family specializes in children's entertainment, and most people know us for the inflatable amusement rides called Spacewalk. So that's what we do. We bounce along.
I don't think a lot of people in New Orleans know that Spacewalk, otherwise known as the bouncy castle, was invented in New Orleans.
You know, they really don't. They all think it came from somewhere else, but it's one of those other things that is another local New Orleans tradition, like the snowball, or just wonderful things here.
People
But
know about the cocktails and jazz. Did you guys know about the bouncy castle?
I did not.
You knew, Damien. How did you know?
Yeah.
Specifically because a relative's kid was actually having a birthday party, and they.
That's not
wanted
that
to-
unusual, by the way. So far.
Well, the unusual part was they sent me to check out some things on the internet, and through looking, I discovered them. Wait a minute, that actually happened here. I didn't realize that, and it was another one of those like, oh, great.
Well,
Reason number 517 why we love this city.
Frank's father
517.
invented the bouncy castle.
I got to see that list. Is that published somewhere?
Sorry, 5017.
Okay.
But how did your dad invent it? He wasn't looking to invent a kid's toy. He was like a physicist or something.
That's correct. He actually he worked for some companies like Schlumberger, Martin Marietta. He worked on the Saturn V program out at Michoud, and actually it technically started in Shreveport, and he was building inflatable domes for like swimming pools and warehouses. And while those were being inflated and they were pretty large, he watched the employees actually walk on them, and he said, "Well, let's build a containment device to actually have people jump on them." Which actually is kind of wild. They also have another thing that actually just broke this season. Have y'all heard of Sector 6, the indoor trampoline center?
Anybody heard of
They
that?
took a 40. We have the largest. We're not associated with it, but it just opened up. It's the largest trampoline building in the world. 40,000 square foot of
It's
jumping.
in New
Where is
Orleans.
this?
It's somewhere in the Elmwood area.
Do they sell pot, or you have to get high before you go?
I don't know. But in any event, we have been inflating fun back since 1959. And we took a local New Orleans thing here, and just expanded it nationwide. Most people don't realize that, but it's one of the things. There's so much great heritage and culture that comes out of New Orleans. Have it be Mardi Gras music, drinking, food, whatever. It's one of those other cultures that just really makes the whole world go round. I mean, you ever feel like the whole world like evolves through New Orleans, like the river?
Well, I always think the world revolves around me, but everyone thinks that, don't they?
I mean, it is truly amazing. I've been very blessed and fortunate to travel the world, and everybody knows New Orleans.
Yeah.
They really do. And, you see your Tabascos, you see, last year I was in Shanghai, and it's actually a New Orleans jazz club at the Fairmont Hotel. And it says on this, it's like Preservation Hall
Yeah.
in Shanghai. It's amazing.
Well, I think they cycle people from New Orleans through there, don't they? I think Sasha
Yeah, they do.
Mazikowski
That's right,
was there
last
for
week,
like
yeah.
3 months, she told us. She was on the
Yeah.
show a couple of
There are a
weeks
couple of places that have New Orleans jazz clubs. There used to be one in Seattle as well. There's a couple of places around.
Did you live in Seattle?
Visiting, and spent some time there.
And are these joints any good? Or is it watered down, diluted version of what we think is?
It's New Orleans jazz. It's not like you're going to get New Orleans jazz locally, of course, but
Right.
because it's in Seattle, and once you've had the water in New Orleans, it changes your perspective on everything.
It's like having French bread in Cincinnati.
That is true. That is
So,
true.
Frank, when you say you travel around the world, what are you doing when you travel? Are you just having fun, or is this work?
Well, I'm involved in a lot of things. My family, I have 3 kids here, And they're actually currently running our company with a nationwide company, which are about 200 locations. And I'm working on more ambitious projects around. We're trying to really help build the family values here in New Orleans. I have a development company that's put in a proposal on the Six Flags out in New Orleans East. We'd like to restore Jazzland, and that really takes an international backing. Jazzland was pretty successful, and it closed, of course, as we all know, when Katrina hit. However, it was just out there all by itself, and we're trying to attract investors and hotels and resorts and water parks. So I'm going out and figuring out who these people are and asking them to come join us here in New Orleans.
So you're going to put a Disney-style amusement park
that is the goal.
Jazzland
that is the long-term goal.
What if you put a zip line from the airport to Jazzland?
Well, it's funny you say that, because we're also, I guess I can let this cat out of the bag. Jazzland's a real big project, and it's realistically, it's going to be at least 3 years before anything happens there. The whole development thing is going to be 5 to 15 years when it comes together. However, we're looking at some short-term goals, and we're actually looking at possibly doing some stuff like near Algiers Point.
Okay.
And one of the problems is getting the people to Algiers Point.
Zip line.
From the top of the World Trade Center.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Straight there. It's a one-way shot, and you take the ferry back.
Mm-hmm.
You really go on a zip line, you get strapped in, and you go zip down the wire from the top of the World Trade Center.
There's some zoning codes we need to work out, but it's all,
Actually, that's actually been cleared before, and if y'all recall, back in the '84 World's
gondola.
Fair, we had the MART, Mississippi Arrow River Transit. That just goes to show how far ahead New Orleans really was, even though we're the Big Easy. That was in '84.
Yes.
And
What was it exactly?
we had a gondola that basically went from the World's Fair over here to basically where the Kern warehouses are on the West Bank. Mm-hmm. And there's a big flag there, and it was a real special thing to be there when the fireworks were going off at night. And post the World's Fair, they actually tried to use that as a transportation to have people park over there and commute over to the CBD. And it was really ahead of its time, and we need to bring things like that back. I mean, we really do.
So it wasn't a ploy to stop the container ships from going upriver to Baton Rouge? Like
Actually,
point.
that's in They did that in Baton Rouge. Are you familiar about the bridge up there?
Yes.
Yeah. That, and we're working on something like that to do. Yes, yeah, of course.
So, are you talking to the city about? Who do you talk to about this? Getting approval to let
the
people
Jazzland
zip
property, the zip line
across the river.
Well, there's currently a proposal out. There's several proposals for the World Trade Center building, and they want to put it in a hotel and nice and stuff. But quite frankly, we would like to see it restored to what the World Trade Center building was. It's the very first World Trade Center in the world, and that is to bring in the embassies, commerce, and that's one of the things, as I was mentioning, I travel around the world. We still don't have the Fortune 500 backing that we need and we should have, but yet there's so many great things happening with the river here. So hopefully we can start getting these people to come back here, and we need to restore the World Trade Center and have it be an economic boon for the whole city.
When you go to a meeting with somebody in another city and they've got tons of money and you want to get a hold of it to build this crazy idea with the zip line going across the river and then the Disneyland out in New Orleans, what do you say to convince them?
What do I say?
What's the pitch? What's the sort of,
Well, we pitch the idea. We show them the demographics. And, of course, most of these people have already been to New Orleans, but they've been to the French Quarter side of New Orleans. And the sad news is there really isn't a lot of family stuff here. I mean, we don't, the good news is there's a kind of breaking news story right now of potential of a Dave & Buster's downtown. That could be awesome.
Heard about that.
Yeah.
What is it?
A Dave & Buster's.
Dave and Buster.
Oh, Grant,
Dave-
you haven't lived,
No,
Grant.
I don't know what
It's
that
like
is.
a Chuck E. Cheese.
It's an adult Chuck E.
kind of.
Cheese.
An adult.
For big boys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and it's going to be on Poydras Street. It's going to be 40,000 square feet. It's where arcade games meets gourmet food and billiards, and it's a very classy
Well, we
environment.
do have a Barcadia, which is kind of, a modern version or whatnot.
But you probably
So-
wouldn't think to bring your kids to Barcadia.
Right.
Have you been to
And
this?
Dave
Not
and
during
Buster's.
happy hour.
Katrina, have you been to
To Barcadia?
the other place, Bucky Buster's, or what's it called?
Oh, Dave and Buster's?
Dave
I
and
remember
Buster.
Dave and Buster's from around the Midwest years ago. Yeah.
So you moved here from Chicago.
I did.
When?
Well, late 2011 this time around, but I lived here for a little while before Katrina as well. So
But why did you leave the first time?
I left because I went broke. I was in debt. All of a sudden, I was like, "Whoa,
That
what
can happen pretty
happened?"
easy. And
So,
what did happen? What were you doing that you spent all your money?
I was, well, I really wasn't, well, yeah, we were spending, but I was working in the French Quarter at a wine bar at Orleans Grapevine, which is still there, and the summer came around and I just wasn't making a lot of money. And so by the time the winter came back around, it was time for me to go home and make some cash again. And then the idea was to wait out the summer, continue to make money in Chicago, where I knew how to do it a little bit better, and then come back. But that was the year Catrina hit.
Then you got
So
messed up.
became a non-option for a while, yeah. And then out of respect, I waited a good 6 years before moving back with my name.
Yes, I was wondering about
But
that.
your name is not spelled like the Hurricane. The Hurricane's spelled with a K, Catrina, and your name is spelled with a C.
That's true, and that's what I say when I introduce myself, and I get that look, and I know right away what they're thinking, and I say,
What are they thinking?
They're thinking, "Did you just say that? Oh my God, what do I say?"
Am I supposed to say something like you're connected to the Hurricane somehow?
Yes, and that's typical. People say, "Oh, that must be a tough name to have," or whatever.
What about going with Cat or Trina for a while? Just lay low.
Well, Cat's cool, but I already had friends here from before, so it just kind of was.
No, people change their names all the time.
I know, and I think
I want to be known as Beverly.
Beverly.
Yes. Isn't that...
You don't look much like a
people
Beverly.
People get used to that.
Bev.
Don't they? They just start
That's
calling
cool.
you, Beverly.
Sure.
I'm sure you could
can pull
get
it
used to
off.
calling me Beverly for the rest of the show if I asked
Sure.
you to, right?
Would you like me to?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'll call you Cat.
Okay, Beverly.
Okay,
That's
Cat.
fine.
All right.
There's plenty of people in nefarious industries that do that all the time. They're used to it.
Stage names.
This is the city for that sort of
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah. What would you like my name to be? Yeah.
What did you think when you heard that Hurricane Katrina destroyed New Orleans and was your
was
name?
actually
I mean,
a-
not how horrible it was, but I mean the fact that it was your name. Did it change
Yeah.
how you felt about it?
It was very surreal too, because I was, obviously very interested in how it was gonna hit, and watching it, for days on end, sort of pull into the town and at like everybody else, but with more of a, seated interest and
Because of your name?
Well, because I just moved back too. Like I was just here, and then I had just left, and then.
Do you believe in the stuff like the universe was taking care of you, that you left and you went broke, but actually you got out before you got
It
destroyed?
seems serendipitous. I mean, it was.
Did you think that? Like the world revolves around you, really?
Back to that.
Yeah, did you really
It's
think
okay
that?
to say that.
Yeah.
I thought lucky. I thought I was lucky. I thought I was lucky, and my boyfriend at the time had moved back with me, and so we were both pretty. And his name is
Uh-oh.
Andrew.
Nobody
Feel you,
remembers that one, though. That was a long time ago.
Oh,
That
yeah.
didn't- that didn't-
Yes, we do.
But that didn't even hit
Especially
it.
people in
Really?
Florida. Yes.
Well, if you were in Florida, then you would know that. But that didn't really hit
Yeah, we
us.
got it here
It
afterwards.
missed us. It
There
sort of
was-
went to
well,
Morgan City.
Caught a bit.
And there were several tornadoes and whatnot that
Oh,
actually
yeah.
happened in a couple of places. Yeah.
Were you in Florida, Damien?
No. I was actually here.
I thought we got away with that one, didn't we?
Well, yeah, but it was just like the rest of them, where you had a hurricane party and you didn't feel bad after the
Right,
fact. But
right.
Katrina was the only one where it was like, ooh.
We got caught.
Yeah.
So, Katrina, you want to... I mean, Kat. Sorry.
Ah.
Do you want to bust out some beer?
Yeah, what do you think?
Oh.
Because you said you brought a backpack full of beer with you. and
Although Beverly doesn't drink, so...
I'm not having any beer today because I'm not allowed to drink until Mardi Gras Day.
Oh, is that right? Well,
And then I get an IV.
I'd be happy to pull the backpack over,
Tell us-
especially since we're talking about Chicago. The beer is Chicago beer.
So
Alright.
tell us about... Did you make this? Do you make this beer or what?
No, just
You just walk around with a backpack full of beer?
well, I represent them in this market, so
Aha.
basically, yeah, I actually, you could say that I pretty much always have a backpack full of beer.
That must be good or
Good
bad for
friend
your
to
lower
have,
back.
Bev.
Huh?
Good friend to have.
A
I
woman after my
know.
heart.
What a marketing idea for Mardi Gras.
Here we go. Finch's Beer Co. Oh, look at this.
Nice.
Nice.
See, this immediately makes me ask the question, why don't
Oh.
people make cooler cans? Why aren't cans cooler? This
Yeah,
is
these
a cool
are great.
can.
The packaging is awesome. So these are some guys that I know just from being in the industry in Chicago for a while, and Finch is their last name. So this is Ben and Mike Finch, and the their background is I think they met their brewer originally at the Art Institute where Benjamin was a student. And so that was always kind of part of the business plan, was to have really kick-ass packaging and have an art sort of, undercurrent along with the awesome beers. So
we will not judge a brew by its cover.
What is exactly so good about this beer can? I can't see anything going on. I can barely tell what it is.
That's a chimera.
It's like a ram, like about to kill a lion or something?
Yeah, no, that's one beast. It's a mythical beast.
It's one
called
beast. It's a two-head.
chimera. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a chimera.
Yes.
Okay. How do you spell chimera?
Chimera.
Oh,
that's like a.
I thought that's pronounced chimera, and I thought it was like something who was like
uncultured swine.
I thought that was like an apparition. Isn't something that a chimera is like an apparition, or am I screwed? Right. Chris, help me out.
Is that where Chimay comes from?
I don't know. Chimay is a beer from
beer.
Belgium. Look at all these beers. Holy crap.
I'm going to pop open the stout. Who wants a taste of the stout?
Oh, that looks good. I might have to break my ban on that one.
So the Finch's Beer Company, so they're from Chicago, but they do specialize in West Coast style ales. So you have West Coast ales done, by Midwestern folks with that water source and that kind of thing. It's a great combination.
Sorry, Catrina, I didn't mean to open that beer so hastily. Do you
Open
have
it.
a way of doing this? I didn't know if there was like a sommelier sort of thing where you.
It's happy hour. We're ready to drink.
I think
Yeah.
it spoke to him.
Look,
So what are you trying?
I brought all these beers. Yeah, this
Frank,
is great.
which one? Well, we can all try the same ones. I mean, we can just.
Oh yeah,
we got glasses.
Everybody's
here.
got a glass. Pour a sip.
Yeah, help
Got
yourself.
a
Yeah, we'll
little
do like a
stout here.
tasting
beer tasting.
flight.
Anybody
Yeah.
first?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Catrina, so you bring all
Stout's
this.
good. Stout's good.
Thank you.
So we'll start with the stout because it is the
Whoa.
seasonally correct.
That's fine. Perfect. Thank you.
And
Right.
that one is.
Should we spit it out or can we swallow it?
Oh gosh, I hope you don't spit it out.
Graham, you got to try them.
The
Graham
stout
can
is
drink
made
more than
with-
everybody here combined. So, her opinion is worth all of ours.
Just take a
combined.
swig off the can there if you like.
Madagascar vanilla beans that are roasted and actual beans instead of like an extract, so you get that nice kind of creamy. There's a
That's
little
the
bit
stout?
of oils in it. Yeah, right.
See,
from
listen
the
to
vanilla
that
beans.
voice. This is what the voice is good for. Isn't it, Frank?
Good
Don't you
things.
think
I
that's
talk
sales?
about the beers a lot.
Yeah.
called
Damien,
the
what do you think
secret
as a
stock
professional
stout, yeah.
voice guy? I think it makes you want to drink that beer when you hear this, doesn't it?
Well,
Okay.
Thank you.
There are other
So-
factors that make me want to drink the beer. Yeah.
Well, yeah, there was that. What do you think about that?
I think it's
Sitting
really
in front
nice.
of you.
It's a good beer.
Stout's not my alley all the time, but as Katrina mentioned, 'tis the season, and yeah, it's a really
Okay.
nice one. Yeah.
Michael, what
Thank
did you try?
I tried the Imperial India Pale Ale.
What do you think?
Fantastic.
Okay. Anybody hate anything? Damien, what do you think about that one?
Fascist Pig Ale, very good.
Damien is drinking.
Everyone loves it.
I am an
what's
India
Damien-
Pale Ale guy, so I'm going to try this.
Frank, what have you tried?
I have just tried the
Chimera.
Chimera. That's it. There you
Chimera.
go.
I cannot believe
I'm not
that's
a
really
big
the word.
beer drinker, but it's nice.
It's really delicious.
Oh,
isn't
that
it?
is.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, Katrina, I mean, Kat, it's unusual for a woman to drink beer, actually, or to,
No,
to
not
love
anymore.
to love beer. Yeah, I'd say
Well,
so.
I'll tell you my background is in wine, so if you want to
Jesus,
get
you're the perfect person for the Hangover Destroyer, then, because that's a fatal combo right there: the beer and wine, right?
no beer and wine, everything's fine.
Is that? Oh, that's
Yeah,
hate.
yeah.
I thought the hop and the hop and the grape was what
Oh,
messed you
no,
up.
there's no
Beer and
problem.
wine, everything's fine. Okay, so what's the cause of a hangover then?
Well, whiskey.
Too much of anything, I suppose. But
Anything
women.
Yeah,
bad.
there's a lot of truth to that.
I think it's dehydration actually is
Amen.
the underlying cause.
Yep.
So if you
That
can
makes
stay
what?
hydrated.
Are you serious? So you can drink as much as you want as long as you have like some water?
You know what? I remember the
Kinda.
first happy hour show I was on, and there was someone who brought some beer in, and they said that they always drink a water in between beers, and I said, well, I'd hate to do that because then I'd never get drunk, but apparently that's a misconception. You can drink as much water as you want, but the alcohol that you put down is the alcohol in your bloodstream,
So if you,
regardless of how much hydrating you're doing.
but you're going to fill up with a pint of. You have to drink a pint of water in between each one.
I
Just
don't know
like
how
8
much,
ounces.
but yeah, say you drink a little cup of water in between every beer. I bet you feel a ton better, but you'll still be as buzzed or wherever you're looking to get. You
But
know?
who can do that though? Have you ever
Yeah,
tried
yeah.
doing that?
If you have a big
Michael, you're
bladder,
practically an alcoholic, right?
I'd say yes.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to quit?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're not alcoholics. We're from New Orleans. There's a difference.
Right.
No, I mean, you take some time off. You have to, but I love,
I think when you were on that show talking about donuts, you were talking about that you weren't drinking for a while, and you were saying how great you felt.
Yeah, and until...
Is that true, though? Did you feel
for
a
a
lot...
little while, yeah, and then your brain crashes and you're back to like, I can't take the world anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a medication in its own sense.
Yeah.
What's better, sugar or alcohol?
They're both sugar.
Okay, I'll rephrase it then. What's better, sugar or sugar?
I'll take sugar with the
With some sugar.
with the effect.
So alcohol is basically sugar too. Maybe that's what screws us up.
Sugar and proteins,
Right.
No, yeah, I think.
But did you really quit to try and quit for good, or you just
No.
you just took a bit of time?
Yeah,
But you were raving on about how awesome you felt.
Yeah, I did.
So why would you go back to drinking if you felt so great?
Because you feel awesome there too. I mean,
Okay.
Actually, it's funny because if you want to bring back to the album, I wrote a song called "I Don't Want to Be Another Charlie B," and it's about Charles Bukowski. And if you embrace, it's not a healthy way of life by any stretch of the imagination, but
What, being drunk constantly, or
exactly, and that's what he was.
Right.
But I mean, and I'm certainly not a proponent of it. I don't do that myself, but I do love the life. It's something where I've realized I'm not going to be a father. I'm not going to be,
what?
this.
Why do you realize that?
Just
Wait a minute, we need more
you-
kids in my business. You're not going
I
to be a
know.
father? What's this about?
I'm getting up there,
That's okay. It's never too late.
You never know.
Look
You
at
never know.
Edwin.
It's-
Didn't
never
Edwin
too
Edwards
late.
have a
That's
kid when
true.
he was like 80 or something?
We need customers.
Oh, then I'll have to look into.
Could you encourage him, Frank?
But
What's
isn't the Bukowski thing the age-old story of creatives realizing that they get into a better headspace to create when they've had a few in whatever that sense is?
In a
And,
way, yeah.
and how many poets have died in the gutter, so to speak, because of that problem. But you call it a problem, or maybe if only you could manage it to the degree where you can get in that headspace where you're more creative.
Well, that's the
and then
exact
come
point.
back down, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
So
You don't go too far,
Yeah.
but you don't. Sometimes you have to go far enough.
I
Being
agree.
able to walk that very fine line.
Absolutely.
Balance.
Yeah. Though tightrope walking when you're drunk is tough.
Yes, it is.
But that's what you got
This
to
has
do.
to be a really big rope. That's
what do the people,
Really
what do the
big
people
rope.
around you think is the question? Then,
It depends on who.
Is that really what the question is, though, or is it?
that's
about,
what it comes down to.
about
If you're an
creating-
alcoholic,
Yeah.
right, Mike?
I mean, I would say it really depends on how open you are and how they're willing to accept it. Again, Bukowski was completely open about it. And most people aren't.
What's the
And
definition
it's
of
like grew up-
alcoholism?
Pouring another beer
Exactly.
when you don't really need one like that.
Well, how do you know if you need one? If you're simply what if you have 3 beers a day? Is that an alcoholic?
Cat?
And you say you need it. If you need 3 beers a day, is that an alcoholic? Say I can't make this painting unless I have 3 beers a day.
Well, you're a song.
I don't think so. I don't think that that's necessarily the definition. I don't really know. I mean, honestly, I think functional alcoholism is widespread and for the most part okay. I mean, I know
We're
that
not alcoholics. We're from New Orleans.
You might want to think about that
It's like
sentence.
potholes. We're used to
But
driving.
you know what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Functional alcoholism is widespread and it's okay.
yeah.
That's
I mean, I
you're
guess,
lucky. You should have moved to New Orleans a long time
well, I
before
guess,
2011.
I'm in the business, so
I think that's the part that I'm asking about is what is alcoholism? What is that? To me, it sounds
Well,
like an
technically,
addiction.
you mean according to the DSM-5 or something, or just
Such a,
You know,
such a
I guess
relative term.
a
yeah,
working definition?
I guess maybe part of me is asking about the DSM-5. Part of me is asking about what we're referring to, as alcoholism. Are we referring to the idea that this is how many beers I get into the headspace to be creative? That's where I was coming from. Is like this creative idea where you've got the Bukowski that just took it. I don't know. Did he take it too far? He's famous and he's got poetry that lives forever, and he decided to live that way and die that way.
Yeah, and he embraced it, and he died at 80.
Yeah.
But
It's
do you
like-
think he would have been a super talented poet and we'd be still talking about him if he wasn't?
No.
No.
Probably not.
Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily
Did he have
agree
an
with that.
endorsement?
But I guess there's room for argument with that,
I think
of course.
I think the drive, no matter what, will still be there. I think I think it was his vehicle, and he chose to embrace that as opposed to something else. Maybe he, when he said his first drink, he's like, "That's it." you know, and that's when he knew he had his voice.
But your song is "I Don't Want to Be Another Child."
Yeah, no, I know.
You want to play that, by the way?
No, I can't. That's a very aggressive song on us. I can't do that on my acoustic.
Okay.
But I can do another one.
We need the other guys
but when
here
you-
for
when you
that.
say
And by
that-
the way, hi Randy and hi Dale.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right on. But when you say you don't want to be another Charles Bukowski, are you saying that you don't want to let that be your end, or that you want to quit altogether? You know, what are you
I don't
saying?
want that to be my end. I certainly don't mind a balance. You know, I think, to be honest with you, if you want to hear a story about that song, it was a couple years ago. I was hanging out with a girlfriend. We got into a fight. I ended up in a bar. I ended up sitting right next to a dominatrix, hanging out, talking to her until 4 in the morning. The girlfriend that I wanted to be with, that I was with, wanted to get involved in the dominatrix world. So I invited her down there. Long story short, we ended up at another bar in the afternoon on Sunday, and at that point, you know, that's when it goes too far, and all of a sudden, I'm with another friend and her, and we're talking a little boisterously, and the guy really didn't like that we were talking loud, and so it ended up into a bar fight where, you know, I punched, you know, I threw him on the table.
Oh.
And he
Which guy was this?
Just some random guy.
Just a
that-
person in the bar.
Yeah, yeah.
Just someone who was objecting to you talking to you.
Yeah,
loud.
he was
Oh,
very
fuck
vocal
him.
about that. Yeah,
He's in a fucking bar.
It's a bar. It's not
Yeah.
a library.
Yeah,
You know?
really.
So-
I never heard about anyone
And
complaining.
that's why I got a little upset. You know, I
Yeah.
ruffled my feathers, but I calmed down, and then he came back, and finally, because, you know, at that point, when you're that deep into let's say a bender or whatever.
Dominatrix.
Yeah.
Oh, so you
Is
go
this
on,
gonna end with a
so you
gag
go
ball
on
or what?
benders.
Pardon me. Well, I haven't done that in years. So, but that was my last.
That was your last big.
That was
big
my
one.
last
So you
big
talk
one.
about drinking for day after day after. This is like you're on Sunday afternoon now.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I
2-3
thought
days.
you'd gone home and you'd gone to church and then you went back and had another drink.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're just drinking all the way through the
Yeah,
whole
pretty
weekend.
much. Well, a
so
couple-
by
yeah.
Sunday afternoon you're getting into a fight in a bar
Yeah.
with some guy who says you're talking too loud. That's probably not what happened at all. I'm sure he didn't say that. It's what you thought he said. You
I
probably
don't-
said something to him that was incredibly insulting.
Probably.
And then he said, fuck you,
Yeah.
and then you said, hey, who are you? to
Yeah.
say,
Well,
"Fuck
he
me"?
insulted my girlfriend. So.
He did?
He did.
Ah.
So that's what happens, you know. And
Well,
I'm
that's
a-
not nice. What did he say about her?
Well, that part I don't remember because I was drinking too much.
So it might not have been insulting at all.
You're
That's
sure
what
it
I'm saying.
happened. It happened.
This is
She
a-
told me it happened. So.
Okay. So you knocked him out or threw him around? And you got thrown out of the bar, I
Of
assume,
course,
at that
yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a big guy. He could have technically, but really hurt me. But I mean, that's what happens when you get adrenaline and you're not paying attention to what you know because you can't. You know.
Well, you make really bad decisions when you're drunk. That's the
That's the
definition of
point, yeah.
alcoholism,
Well,
probably.
that-
if
yeah.
you're,
Well, I think everybody makes a bad decision even when they're drunk, even if they're not an alcoholic. But
but if we're looking for a definition of alcoholism, that might be when the alcohol is in control of your life when you're making decisions that
yeah,
you wouldn't
cons-
otherwise
consistently.
make.
Yeah, yeah.
I would
right,
say if you're
right.
doing that consistently, yes,
Right.
definitely. So,
Are we supposed to? I think I'm going to have to put new signs on our inflatables about no drinking allowed. I mean, this is a whole other dimension here.
Oh, you had no idea.
That is a,
I'm going to just stick to children's entertainment.
There we go.
No backpacks of beer and
Well, that would be the
adult-
after party of the parents.
Well, it's funny because when you were talking about that, I didn't know that about you and the whole inflatables thing. And I have recent memories of like my adult life really enjoying those products, like you watching the kids having so much fun and then just deciding to like get in there and enjoy it myself. And so it's funny that came back up because I think it's good for adults too.
Well, one
But-
of the newest things that we're doing is actually floating inflatables in lakes and rivers that are actually more for adult oriented. They're obstacle courses, they're Olympic challenge courses. I'll pull up a picture in a few minutes,
fun.
and they're
Geez, I'm feeling
They-
like seasick already, aren't you?
they are
Jumping around
lots
an
and
inflatable
lots of
castle
fun.
on a lake.
Oh yeah, that's
make a deal with the Dramamine people.
The ones that are the kids, what we call the kids ones, are they strong enough for adults to bounce around in, or are you not supposed
absolutely.
to? Yeah.
We haven't. I don't think we've ever popped one yet.
Okay.
Nice.
That's
It's a great record.
Knock on vinyl.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of it. Although, the funny thing is we actually have an educational line that we're launching that is like we have air-inflated space shuttles. Looks like
Neat.
that. It's a basically the kids
Oh
go
my God.
inside. It's a portable
That's
IMAX
awesome.
theater.
That's
we
awesome.
have an indoor submarine, and these are actually educational devices. We have a division called Eduflation. And
Okay,
and
that's the best line of the day right there.
One of the
Did you come
problems
up with that, man?
I did.
Eduflation, you're
One
a
of the
genius.
problems in today is kids just don't go touch and see. We don't go on field trips anymore. Liability reasons, cost reasons. So we're actually bringing these products into schools. We're applying for some grants. What our goal is actually every school child in America between 1st and 6th grade 4 times a year to have some type of an educational inflatable experience. And it's stimulating.
Should be written into the sort of curriculum from central government.
People don't realize, and it actually on June 3rd this year will be the 50th anniversary of the first spacewalk out of space. Now, a trivia question. And I'll buy the next round on if you get it right.
All right.
Well,
Who was the person who made the first spacewalk? Not inflatable, but the real one, 50 years ago.
You mean
on
in
June
space,
3rd.
floating around
The
in
first,
space?
Well, actually, technically it was a Russian, but the first American.
Not John Glenn, but his
Wasn't it
buddy.
Buzz Aldrin?
Nope.
No?
The Russians did it first?
I'll give you a hint. His first name is 2 letters.
Is it Cooper?
No, that would
No.
be more letters.
2 letters.
No. Right.
Ed.
Very good, Ed. Now it's a color. It's down to the colors.
Ed White?
There you go. There you go.
I just
You
totally
got
made
it.
that up. I
There
never
you
heard of anybody
go.
called Ed White.
Exactly.
Well, you're a good clue giver, I'll say that.
There
Frank,
you
'cause
go.
that was the first person to walk in space.
It was.
Okay, have any of you all ever heard that guy's name before?
First American.
First
First
American. Technically, it was
Damien,
a
have you ever
Russian.
heard that guy's name? Though?
Yes, I have, but it's been a while.
You also heard.
My guess was going to be Wallace Schirra, but I would have been way off.
They're actually having an exhibit up in the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum this summer, and that's going to be great to see. And that's one of the things also people don't realize the space program's basically been shut down in the United States for a while.
Yeah.
And here in New Orleans, it's coming back. We're
Yeah.
building the different things.
We're going to Mars from New Orleans East,
We're-
right up by your Disney World type
It
project.
would be nice. That's what we'd like. And it's all about exploration. It's all about being different. It's about pushing the boundaries, and that's one of the problems today. New Orleans doesn't have. We're not complacent here. The rest of the world is. We tend to we make trends here. Everybody kind of copies us. Except we're our food, our po' boys, our Mardi Gras, or whatever. We are the trend makers.
We're not good at recycling.
I have a real big question. Are there any house rules in New Orleans?
House rules. You mean for the city or for just general behavior?
The whole life.
No,
I
pretty
don't
much
know
anything
if there
goes,
is.
I
Yeah.
think.
And speaking of which, does anybody remember the restaurant in the French Quarter called Anything Goes back in the 80s?
Yes.
Graham.
Was
Damien
that
knows
an
everything.
incredible? Yeah, we got to hang.
That was crazy.
We have got to hang. Now,
That was crazy.
What was it?
you could eat in a teepee or a hut.
I've only been there once, and my dad actually took me there. My dad used to be in insurance and law enforcement, and so
Good combo.
he would take his clients there from time to time.
Insurance
It was-
and law enforcement.
Yes, absolutely.
And
And Dad went to Loyola as well, actually.
Oh, there you go. And it ultimately became the very first Rick's Cabaret.
In the
now
same
it's
building?
The Penthouse today, Penthouse Club. But it was a great place back in college and high school for me. It was a great place.
What could you do in Anything Goes that you couldn't do in
It
this
was
restaurant?
a completely themed restaurant where all the
several
waiters were.
different-
It was
yeah.
basically living Mardi Gras, Halloweenish costumes every night. Then you would eat in environments. Which, speaking of which, and that's something I'm hoping to attract some developers. I think, has anybody been to the Madonna?
I knew you were going to say the Madonna Inn.
The Madonna Inn.
I knew you were going to say that.
We need a Madonna Inn in
This-
New Orleans.
This I don't know about.
Okay, it is a
Damien.
themed hotel.
Yep.
That every room is different. It's in California.
Yep.
And what other city? We basically need to have a themed hotel. There's a wonderful hotel that's been sitting there vacant at the corner of Claiborne and Canal Boulevard. Been sitting there dormant.
No,
for
that's been
8
that's
years.
been imploded. That place.
No, it's sitting
The
there.
Palace
It's-
Hotel.
It's right. Okay, that's where the
That's
the
gone,
medical
that one.
center is. It's on
Yeah.
the other side. It's just sitting there, waiting there to be developed. And what better place to do it than here in New Orleans?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Our development team. We have a lot of projects, but one of the things that as an entrepreneur, we can easily create ideas, but you got to put them into action, and it takes investment. And that's one of the things that's still very hard. My role in my leadership position is basically to attract those investors. That's why I have to travel. And
Do you actually do anything?
I enjoy
I mean,
life.
no, I mean, really, do you do anything? Or you have all these genius ideas.
Big ideas.
Yeah, are you just developing stuff all the time?
Well, that's
Well, if he's traveling and talking to investors,
Yeah, that's what I mean. But you
well,
don't.
it's
What a great gig, though.
traveling the world and seeing. on the radar right now is going to South Africa. We would really love to track the people that developed Atlantis and Paradise Island to put an Atlantis in New Orleans East.
Okay.
I mean, it did flood. It was underwater for a while. And just that, we don't have a resort hotel with a massive
Right.
swimming pool,
But you-
kind of like the Hard Rock in Vegas.
But you've got grown kids who are running the company for you.
Yes, exactly.
So you got this whole money-making thing where the kids are taking care of it.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
So you don't actually do anything? I mean, you're running around coming up with all these awesome ideas. We're going to have Eduflation, we're going to have an inflatable submarine and an inflatable space shuttle, and going to build Disneyland out in the east, and we're going to have a theme restaurant on Canal Street, and there's zip lines going across the river.
I bring people together. I consider myself a self-appointed ambassador for the city and the state. I mean, quite frankly, one of the things most people don't realize, and I don't know if I mentioned yet, I actually was fortunate to take an early retirement. In 2001, I moved to Orlando and actually lived at Disney World for 10 years. And that was kind of a bad idea, because then I was hanging around with all the Disney people, and while I was trying to retire, my mind kept going faster and faster and bringing things together. And, we've got so much opportunity here. This, by the way, and most people know that Disney World was actually supposed to be in New Orleans, not in Orlando at the time.
That's right.
And it's never too late to restart that. And we need to attract people to come here. We can and should be the biggest tourist destination for families, not just adults, families.
What was the reason they didn't build Disneyland out in the east in the first place?
Politics.
Somebody needed to be paid off back in the day.
Yeah, and actually in Disneyland in California, most people don't realize it, there's actually an area called Orleans Square. Yes. And that's what Walt Disney himself had a passion. And have you all ever been to Club 33? Club 33 is basically the foundation room, like a House of Blues, but it's for Disney. And it actually flies under a state of Louisiana flag in California.
In Disney World, land.
No, Disneyland in California.
Disneyland in Anaheim.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Wow, okay.
And that's where they have the Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's where it's just all. Walt had a passion for New Orleans, but once again, going back to the creativity side and the difference in New Orleans, Walt actually followed the Bat family, the Bats from Pontchartrain Beach. The Bats were at least 25 to 30 years ahead.
Absolutely.
Which, speaking of which, I'll say one last thing when we move on, is that we need to bring back the Bally High restaurant.
Right on.
On the West End lakefront. Done.
Belly High. Andrew, you know anything about that?
It sounds vaguely familiar, but no.
Pontchartrain Beach.
It was a musical, I think, Belly High. What was it? It was a restaurant.
It was a themed restaurant, tiki torches, serious drinks, a lot of fun.
It was.
I was too young at the time, but I've heard a lot about it. But I hear we need to bring it back.
Belly High and Anything Goes.
Yes.
And Disney World out on the east.
Yes.
Zip lines across the river.
From Bally High to Anything Goes as well, just as a
From Belly High to Anything Goes.
as a connection.
That is a good.
Zip
That's
con-
a zip line right
connection,
there.
yeah.
Hey, should we make these guys play another song? Seeing we're just
Yeah.
going to sit here for another
Let's do it.
5 hours,
Yeah.
hanging out, drinking.
Sounds good.
We got a lot of beer to drink, and then
Oh, there's beer.
party foul.
Good job.
Not
The beer
open.
wasn't
Not
open.
open.
Good job.
beer.
Here, let
Folks
me
back
get
home, the
these-
beer
let me
was
get-
not opened. It's okay. Everybody's fine.
All right, I'm going to take my cheat sheets this time.
If you're keeping score at home,
Price
zero
averted.
open beers.
Okay, which
spilled.
one are you going to sing, Michael?
We're actually going to sing this. This is the last one off the CD. It doesn't get played much, and that's especially why I'm using the cheat sheet, because it's like a mellow little song.
Right.
Kind of snuck it in at the end of the recording session. It's called "In This Garden."
In This Garden. Okay.
Yeah. Let me grab my guitar real quick.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to check my tuning again.
What can I get you?
Can I borrow your pen?
Oh, sure. Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can cut this little bit out. Do you want to play something as well, too?
No need.
We could, though.
Lead singer, what's her name?
Kate Pearson.
Kate Pearson, thank you.
Damien does it again.
There you go. I don't need that anymore.
Or
What were you going to write down?
Cindy Wilson. I don't know.
That was a trivia
No,
question
it's
you could have had.
Oh, did I miss an opportunity?
No, that would have been a
Well,
great
listen.
I think we should have trivia questions. That sounds
Okay.
wonderful.
All right. Good idea. We'd have a trivia game.
But the
after.
host won.
Oh, I won that one because you told me the answer. I've never heard of Ed White.
Look, I don't know what we're editing out here or what we're not, but I did want to say your idea for the hotel on Canal. Kate Pearson runs a trailer park in the Catskills.
Heard
And
of this.
she's got like multiple themes throughout these different trailers that are just kind of like positioned in the woods as a trailer park, and it's like this kind of fantastical sort of destination thing, and maybe she's the answer as far as an investor or at least a collaborator.
We need to talk.
Yeah, Kate Pearson.
Or
that's
the
correct.
Madonna Ann even, hit
That's
them
a
up.
thought.
And if you're ever driving from LA to San Francisco, you'll see it. See it on the left, going north.
There's
Great
champagne.
spot.
There's champagne cake. Ooh, it's a timeless place.
Absolutely.
It's a timeless.
And by timeless, we mean like it never had a time. It's just always gaudy and cheesy, but it's perfect in that way.
It's got these big old boots.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah. Now, it's the downside of, I'm sure you're used to it. There's so much going into producing an album, and then you're doing more work actually doing the business end and less of the creative end. It's kind of lose focus sometimes. So, anyway, once again, this is In This Garden. I sowed the seeds to a garden I won't see grow. The hard for room is love I'll never know. The rain will fall and fuel the soil with the sorrow from my soul. In my work I know her smile will always show. In this garden there will be a vine to catch the sunshine. I know its trellis will hold it strong and tall. The flowers that will bloom will throw the arms in which they rest. The doves who settle and dig their nests. Every living thing that you shall perish. The growth within our time will take its course. And we try to pull its beauty from the ground with their crime. Kill the very thing we turn to cherish. So the time has come for me to walk away from the garden and the woman I yearn to reap. Have to let her thrive and let her arms reach in the sky, so the blooms she gave to me will never dry. So the blooms she gave to me will never dry. So the blooms she gave to me will never dry.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Off the album From Piety to Desire.
Thank you.
The Parishioners.
Is
spelled
that available to be downloaded on iTunes?
Oh yes,
or?
yes, yeah. You can buy it on all. You can download it from iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon. You can purchase this at purchase it locally at Euclid and Louisiana Music Factory.
That is awesome. Great stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice. Really nice indeed. It is quite different from the old stuff you were doing.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
you.
I mean, I think if you these are songs that are approachable for here.
For the older listener.
Yeah, I think. Oh, no, well, yeah, definitely for the older listener, but for an acoustic setting,
Right.
I think a lot of their
The other stuff's rocked out more.
yeah, I'd say the arrangements are a little more complicated.
Okay.
Not complicated; they're still simple songs, but just
Okay, so we can just go steal it or stream it.
Exactly.
in the usual
There's
places.
still a couple of
Exactly.
there's still a couple of rockers
plenty
there.
ways to steal it. So yeah,
Yeah, and you playing all around town?
yeah.
As a matter of fact, tonight we're actually playing at the Hi-Ho.
although
so
by the time
Definitely anyone listening
they
to this has
listen to
missed
this,
it.
Yeah.
yes, exactly,
For sure.
Unless
But it was great, and you should have been there.
have been
Come to
there.
the next one.
And they
It'll
had
be awesome.
free beer all night too. It was
Right.
amazing.
Precisely.
The Parishioners is spelled Parishoners. Do you want to play anything, Andrew? What do you
Actually,
think?
it's Parishioners.
Parishioners. It is too. Yeah, right.
Yes.
I always make that mistake.
There are a lot of people that do.
A lot of people make that mistake. Do you own both the URLs for that? The
Nah.
wrong one as well, like
Yeah.
Untied and United or whatever they
I figure if they're going the wrong way, they should.
fuck them. If they can't spell parishioner, fuck them. They don't need to listen to it. Andrew, let's make you play something. Hey,
right.
listen, by the way, we've got squeezy balls here now.
Uh-oh.
Have you seen our new squeezy balls, everybody? Take a look.
you should explain to the listeners what that is, Grant, because they don't have a visual.
It's a it's a stress ball that's a little like globe map of the world globe, and it's got our logo on it.
Makes
It
for a
says
great dog toy.
It's one of those. I have the whole world in my hand.
We just got them today. Damien, what do you
So,
think?
in other words,
Yeah, I like this. This is cool.
It's a squeezy ball. Hey,
Is this a
Frank, what would you?
present?
Yeah, you can have it.
Yeah, cool.
Frank, what would you call that in the entertainment fun world?
Wow.
I've been calling it squeezy ball. I guess like bouncy castle, but
You know, we have a bouncy that's like this, but no, this is the whole world in my hand.
I was just going to say, that's what my thought was. He's got the whole world
in my the whole wide world in his hand.
in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the little bitty babies in his hands. He's got the little bitty babies in his hands. He's got the little bitty babies in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
He's got you and me, baby, in his hands. He's got you and me, baby, in his hands. He's got you and me, baby, in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Well, actually, this is kind of working for the song that I was going to play anyway. So,
Okay.
Frank inspired me to play my kids' song.
Oh, thank you.
Because there was this school uptown that asked me to come play for them, and it was a preschool, and I realized like 2 weeks before it that I didn't have any songs for preschoolers, so I decided to write a couple of songs, and this is the song that I wrote. And then I realized when I got there that it was great and everything, but turns out you don't write songs for 5-year-olds because they don't care. You know? But anyway, this is what I wrote. If you forgot the real difference between Halloween and Christmas, you really ought to ask a little kid. And if you're not quite ready to publicly eat spaghetti, you ought to seek advice from little kids. See, grown-ups are fine and well when you need jars off the top shelf, and they can even usually pop the lid. But if you got a simple question and need simpler suggestions, you ought to seek advice from little kids. Now if you can't tell Stegosaurus from T-Rex or Brontosaurus, you really ought to ask a little kid. You won't find help in a thesaurus. Now let's sing the simple chorus. You really ought to ask a little kid. Now you might think me kinda clever for putting this song together, but there's something I've not admitted. Well, it's that I'm proud to say that at the park just yesterday, I learned this whole song from a little kid. Whistle solo. Thanks, Joe.
Okay, that's been the most fun show I think we've done, certainly in 2015 for sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we had so much fun.
8 days into it.
A+.
And just remember, kids are our future, so they're very important to ask questions.
If they're lucky.
Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Exactly.
Nice.
Take the handcuffs off.
You don't handcuff children, Frank.
Not anymore.
Not since you got caught. Okay, so listen. Andrew, we totally fucked this up here. Look,
Yeah, what do we do?
forgot to mention anybody.
Mention it now. We'll throw it in. You want some jingles while you do it?
Oh, yeah, okay. All right.
As he empties
Okay.
the hardcore
Yeah.
chimera
How
into
many-
his glass.
I'm sure that
I love
is-
it.
that-
Big
okay,
fan.
how many beers have we knocked off here now?
3?
3 only.
Three
three, what?
English pint cans.
3 English. Yeah, okay. Is there a pint in each of those beers?
16.9 ounces.
Okay, you ready with a jingle?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just take a minute to tell you that Happy Hour is brought to us today by Petite Pet Care. If you're going out of town or have a crazy schedule, the folks at Petite Pet Care will take care of your pet in his or her own home. For loving care when you're not there, go to petitepetcare.com and buy Basics Swim and Gym, a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout and yoga clothes with style. The all-new Basics Swim and Gym is on Magazine Street, near Jefferson Avenue, and by Comic-Con in New Orleans from January 9th to the 11th at the Convention Center. Congratulations to MLK, who was our VIP winner. And if you listen to this before or during January 9th to the 11th, come out to Comic-Con at the Convention Center in New Orleans and say hello to us. We'll be there. We have a booth. It's booth number 816. Andrew's going to be there.
Maybe.
I'm going to be. Oh, come on, dude. You said you would be there. Graham's going to be there. And I think a lot of other of our personalities here from itsneworleans.com are going to be there as well. So come join us.
See you there. You'll see us in our usual attire, which is as fantastical as all the other.
Are you going to wear an outfit to that thing?
No, I'm just no.
You're supposed to get dressed up as some sort of a... Frank, do you have anything I could borrow?
There's a certain element to... There's a certain element of dressing up as plaid. It's awesome. It works.
As what?
Plaid.
Plaid.
We've got plaid.
I'm wearing plaid now. I thought so are you.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot
So
of
is
plaid
he.
at the table.
Yeah.
No, there's only
that's
3 of us.
Polka dots.
And polka dots.
Andrew's in plaid as well. And that's
So it's-
happy hour for today. Thank you so much for joining me. My guests have been Catrina Cerny, Frank Scurlock, Michael Cain, and Damien Williams from the Parishioners, which has an extra I in the middle. And our producer of our show is Graham DePonte. Our associate producer and technical director is Chris Kehoe. Christian Unruh is our music director. Our theme music is normally written and played by Mitch Foreman, but today our theme music going into the show was written by Damien Williams, and going out of the show was written by Andrew Duhon. The fabulous audio quality of this show is brought to you in part by PreSonus Audio Electronics. If you'd like to be on our show, and you can sit around a very tiny table and stay upright after way more than 3 beers, by the way, drop us a line. Our address is on our website. You can also listen to many more happy hours there and check out some other shows we make here at itsneworleans.com, including Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace, Mindset with psychiatrist Dr. Nick Pajic, True to the Game with Chris True, Midnight Menu +1 with Margot Moss and the Man Who Ate New Orleans, Ray Canada, and Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tucker. You can keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and a bunch of other time-sucking social media as well. And all of it, where It's New Orleans, you can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our Facebook and Google Plus pages. Those photos were taken by the fabulous, talented, and bearded Douglas Engel. If you're listening to this show on iTunes or Stitcher or some other podcast app you like better, thank you so much for subscribing to us. Stop everything you're doing right this minute and take 1 second to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfair on Ferret Street, where they put fine dining into a sandwich and fine booze into a glass. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com, for Andrew Duhon on guitar, for Graham DePonte, who's actually at the bar right now, believe it or not.
Good for her.
She's been there for about the last 15 minutes. Who is that guy she's talking to? Do you have any idea?
Never met him in my life.
For everyone else back at the INO office and around the table here at Wayfair, thank you so much for joining me. I'm Grant Morris. We'll see you back here next week on Happy Hour.
Celebrate Venus Fashion Week and discover the new fall fashion collection while saving at Venus. This weekend only, spend $100 and get an additional $15 off. Spend $150 and get $30 off. Just go to Venus.com and use the promo code SWEATER to save today.